Srila Prabhupada taught his students to follow 4 rules. One of them was no intoxicants. No drugs, no alcohol, not even coffee or tea or cigarettes, nothing intoxicating. And Prabhupada explained, we're already intoxicated. I'm this body, I'm this, I'm that, and this is mine, that's mine, this is mine, that's mine. We're already intoxicated. So why should we do something that will get us more intoxicated? That's going in the wrong direction. We want to become free from intoxication. A person who's intoxicated can't think straight. He's stoned, he can't think clearly. When he dries out, when he comes down, dries out, whatever it is, then maybe he can understand something. So spiritual life doesn't means to become clear-minded, which is the opposite of intoxicated. And therefore Prabhupada gave this rule, no intoxication. Yeah. So the king said, I'm intoxicated by thinking I'm this body and this is all mine, my family, my kingdom, my money, my land, Bhushan. Asajjamanasya. And with all of these things, I become more and more attached. I can't give up. You ask me, give up your kingdom. What? Give up my kingdom? Give up my Tesla? Give up my home? Give up my money? Give up my family? He can't imagine giving anything up. Unless it's something he doesn't want. That he'll give up. But anything he's attached to, he stays attached to. So, sajjamanasya. And what am I becoming attached to? Duranta chintaya. Chinta means anxiety. Anxiety. And duranta means endless. I think I'm attached to my beautiful wife, to my aristocratic home, to my wealth. Actually, I'm attached to sources of anxiety. The wealth has to be protected against plunderers. The wife has to be protected against men with a competitive interest in her. The land has to be protected by dogs, fences, barbed wire, security systems, armed guards. My body, that's the source of all the happiness, finally. All the money, all the land, all the wives, all the children, they're meant for me. And I'm thinking I'm this body. But the body is fragile. At any time, anything can happen to it. Anything can happen to it. I know for psychology there's a big, thick book of mental problems, DSM-3. I suppose there must be manuals like that for physiology also. But if you went through the list of, every disease known to man, it would be thick. It would be an encyclopedia. And any one or two of those, or three of those things could happen at any moment. Tuberculosis, cancer, COVID, yellow fever, dengue. Nothing's coming to mind in a big list. There's so many. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Huge list of things that can happen to this body. And so we have clinics, we have naturopaths, we have homeopaths, we have yoga, we have Ayurveda, we have all of these things so that the body will be okay. But the nature of the body is that it's falling apart. That's the body goes through 6 changes. It is born, it grows, it stays for some time. There's some byproduct, children, and then it starts to dwindle. And it doesn't wait till you're 70 or 80. And by the time we're like 30 maybe, it's already not uphill anymore. Maybe it flattens out a little bit, but things, I've got this problem and I've got that problem, and we have to take every year or every 6 months go for tests to make sure we don't have this, to make sure we don't have that. Have a mammogram, have a prostate examination, have a this, have a that. Because anything could happen to this body. And finally, despite all of our doctors and precautions, at any time I could be run over by a truck. I could fall and break my head. I could be attacked on the street by ruffians. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. The body, this body is the focal point of all my existence, all my happiness, all the meaning that my life might have, and it could be smashed to bits in one moment. Car crash, plane crash, train crash, this crash, that crash, stock market crash, any kind of crash. Finished. Duranta Chintaya. So I'm in anxiety about my body. I'm in anxiety about, my mind is full of anxieties. All the things that I've gathered are sources of anxiety. I have a big house and a big mortgage. Anxiety and the upkeep, the anxiety. Chintam parameyam cha palayantam upashrita. The Bhagavad Gita said, Chintam parameyam cha. The materialistic person has immeasurable anxieties. And therefore the pharmacy is full of medicines to tone down our anxiety. I don't know the names of them all, but pharmaceutical companies make huge profits on drugs meant to just try to calm down our anxieties. We can't even sleep because of anxiety. Or I'm not in anxiety, I'm depressed. There's so many anxieties, I can't deal with them. So instead of trying to do something, what should I do? I just go into depression. There's nothing I can do. It's all hopeless. No, it's not hopeless. We'll give you this medicine, and then. But this is the situation that we think we're getting happiness, but really what we're buying into is limitless anxiety. Pralayantam, up to the point of death. Limitless anxieties, limitless troubles. Because this body It can't give really very much happiness, but it can give lots of anxiety, lots of trouble. So we'll find in this narration that the king is very intelligent. He prays to Krishna, why you're offering me a benediction? Why should I ask for something that's going to cause more anxiety? Everyone else wants this, that, but I see. I achieved the highest position, king of a great kingdom, and it was anxiety. And if I get something more, it'll be more anxiety. So why should I pray to you for something which will be something which will only cause anxiety? Let me be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Let me be engaged in devotional service. Let me be engaged in always thinking of you. That's the real thing. If everything's on the body, it will just be nishpala, like a waste of time. It will be a waste of time. Everything will be literally smashed by time, kala. Kalosmi, Loka Chayapit. The time, what is that elsewhere? And the time will finish everything. So the king prayed that I'm not this body, I'm a spiritual living being. And in my real identity, my business is to revive my Krishna consciousness, to engage in relationship to you on the eternal platform, the Vaikuntha platform, the platform where there's no anxiety. So this is one of those verses. There are many verses spoken by King Mucukunda, very enlightening verses. But maybe we'll stop here and see if there's some questions and comments.
What happened with this king?
He got the blessing from Krishna that yes, in this life, you can wander all over the world and you'll be Krishna conscious wherever you go. And after that, you'll take birth in my association and attain perfection. Pretty good. Yes. Yes.
How can we overcome the anxiety of death? Because it is something everybody...
How do we overcome the anxiety of death?
Yeah, is there a way to overcome it?
Yeah, by knowing I'm not this body. As soon as I think I'm this body, then there'll be anxiety. Because I'm identifying with something which is going to be finished. I'm identifying on a platform of material existence, where there's always trouble. Or, from another angle of vision, I'm full of passion. Even there's a book, Passion for Excellence. Passion for this, passion for that. I'm passionate about. Everybody thinks passion, yes, passion. And Krishna says from passion, what comes? Rajasastu palam dukkam. From passion comes misery. From goodness comes knowledge, and therefore a peaceful mind. But from passion comes misery. And from ignorance comes stupidity, or madness. So people are cultivating stupidity, madness, passion. Naturally they're in anxiety or they're in depression. In ignorance they're in depression, and passion they're in anxiety. But in the mode of goodness, then mind becomes peaceful. And with a peaceful mind, one can become Krishna conscious. Be situated on the transcendental platform. So, how do we go from passion and his method in this age is very simple. Just chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Then we come to the transcendental platform, which is where there's no anxiety. Is that okay? In my spiritual position, I have no anxiety. Anxiety is unnatural. But when I identify with the body, then there's anxiety and so many other things. So this chanting brings us to the spiritual platform. Then Nishocchati and Nikangshati, there's nothing to hanker for, nothing to lament about. Prasanatma, one becomes joyful. Srimad Bhagavatam, and from that point, one goes still further to engage in bhakti, in devotional service to Krishna. Is that okay? Something else?
Any tips for grihasthas? Because for grihasthas, the chances are there higher that you identify more with yourself as a body, because you have to do more attachment comes because of all the things you have, and so this becomes more difficult.
Any tips for grihasthas, married people? Because they tend to be more involved with money, home, and bodily considerations. Main tip is chant Hare Krishna. It's not only for the sannyasis, it's for everyone. And then, if I'm chanting Hare Krishna, then I come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is the opposite of material consciousness. So, for the grihasthas, it doesn't matter. Married, not married. Everyone can take advantage of this chanting and come to the spiritual platform. And then the tight knot of material attachment becomes loosened. It's a serious project. It doesn't happen automatically. It's not that I go to a yoga studio for an hour or two every now and then, or on some schedule, and then it all happens. No? There needs to be a transcendental process by which I get free from the bodily platform. Generally people practice yoga to get more deeply into the bodily platform. I've been practicing for this many weeks, and how much better I feel, how much better I look. How much more of a glow, and how much more attractive I am. We're thinking in terms of the body. That means they're so-called yogas materially corrected. The real yoga means to get free from all these things. So that becomes possible by Mahamantras, Hare Krishna, Mahamantras. Then one genuinely comes to the spiritual life. Apart from that, grihasthas can try to reduce their material necessities. What is that? Lavo jiveta yavata. The Bhagavatam says, Kamasya nendriya pritir lavo jiveta yavata. Jivasya tattva jigyasa mantriyasya. That life is not meant for accumulating things for satisfaction of our desires or bodily demands. Lavo jiveta yavata. I should have as much as I need. How much we need may differ from one person to another. Family man needs more than a sannyasi. But as much as we need, not more. People are, that's another anxiety. I have this much, I want more, so I put the more on my credit card and pay 23% interest and work hard like an ass to pay the bank. How smart is that? And what am I paying for? The privilege of having it now. I don't even need it, but I have to have it now. And so I'm paying interest. And I'm spending money on the thing and spending money on the interest for the thing. And I'm not any happier than I was before I bought it. This is called Maya. Maya Sukhaya Padabhutvahato Vimudha. The way an ass is carrying a burden, a foolish householder is carrying a burden of unnecessary things that he has to pay for. You know, it's like, what is it? I have to live in chains, and I have to pay for the chains. Not only that, I go out and buy the chains. And then clamp them on and say, these are the latest designer chains. And I'm a slave. So the Sukadeva Goswami recommends, live with less. What you need, that's all. Why? Jivasya tattva jigyasa. So that my time can be spent for spiritual inquiry, spiritual realization, spiritual development. Why should I durlabha manava janma? I've got this very rare human life. There's so many trees, there's so many birds, there's so many insects, so many living beings. The number of people in Berlin is small compared to all of them. And I'm so fortunate I've got this human form of life. Why should I spend it just to eat better, sleep better? This human life should be spent for spiritual realization. Just eating and sleeping and having sex, I can do in any life. And we've already done that. We've gone through so many lifetimes. Why not use this lifetime for Krishna consciousness? So that's another thought. Keep your costs down. Save your time, and use those resources of this human life for spiritual realization. Husband and wife, chant Hare Krishna. Something else?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your wonderful lecture. And you are told that our real self is the soul. And we have heard it a lot of times, and it's like here in my head. But how can we really feel it? That I'm a soul and another is a soul.
It's like, how do I, we've heard I'm the soul. How do I feel that I'm the soul? You act on the platform of the soul. Just like I've heard so many times, I'm German. So then what do? I have to do something German. Serve the state, improve the German something or other, do some German art, something that establishes, yes, it's not just that I sit here, I'm German, I have to do something German. Then I can say, yes, I'm German. I contributed something to the advancement of German industry, or to German literature, or to German something. Otherwise, it's just talk. So I can sit here, aham brahmasmi, I'm spirited, I'm soul, I'm a spiritual living being. And what does it amount to? It doesn't amount to anything. Because I'm just sitting here, I'm this, I'm that. But when you act as spirit, then you feel like you're spirit. So that activity is devotional service to Krishna. Action in Krishna consciousness. When you act for Krishna, then you confirm your identity as soul. The soul is not just a limp or inert thing that just sits there and is spiritual. It's active, it's personal, it does something. So we don't do it just like a person. He goes into the hospital because he got some disease. Then they cure the disease. But if he's just lying in bed, he can't say, I'm cured. Cured means you resume your healthy activities. You eat again, you walk again, have sex again, whatever it is that you do. Now I'm doing it again. Not just that I lie in bed and say, yes, I'm cured. See, their tests all say I'm cured. You have to act on the healthy platform, then you can claim to be cured. So, aham brahmasmi, I'm spirit, that's all theoretical. Practical means when I act as spirit. And that's action in Krishna consciousness. Mm-hmm.
Mark, there was a question.
Yes.
How is this possible to understand you are not the body in extreme situations? If you have pain that you can't really have a thought or
then you really need not to be this body.
Huh?
How do we understand that we're not this body in extreme circumstances when we have pain? And that's our only refuge. The person who thinks that he's this body is going to be in the worst of situations, in the worst of circumstances. The Krishna conscious person, he knows that this body is giving so much trouble, but I'm not this body. He has to be trained. By chanting Hare Krishna, it's not just a ritual. But it means to change our consciousness so that we no longer identify with this body. We identify with the spirit. Therefore, Kadambakanan Maharaj, he had the most serious stage of cancer, and the trouble he described to be so painful. He described it as inconvenience. Inconvenience. That's spiritual consciousness. Mm-hmm. The body means it must create trouble. Comes to take yourself. One has to tolerate that. Even the most difficult. When there's danger, the inhabitants of Vrindavan just take shelter of Krishna. When there's a forest fire, there's a torrents of rain, whatever it is, they just call out to Krishna, oh Krishna, please help us, please help us. That's the mentality of the Krishna conscious person. And the materialistic person, he's looking for a solution. How to put an end to war, how to patch up the economy, how to try another operation, more surgery. And you could still try this, you can still try that. There's radiation, there's a new drug on the market. It's just hoping against hope that the body can be preserved. I'm a Krishna conscious person. Anyway, the body will be finished today or tomorrow. But I'm not the body, why should I care? It's serious business to cultivate that consciousness. But if we don't, we'll be miserable. And if we do, we'll be happy. Okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Now in Berlin, like in Europe, we have this election posters everywhere.
Elections.
Elections, yeah, and there's this poster, like a party for ever long life. Like they're trying to work out how to have a never-ending life. And I sometimes think, when we were talking about the body, and how like the end of the body like is always an argument for us to turn to Krishna. What would happen if really scientists would do this and we could live forever? Like maybe first only the very rich persons, but
So the first thing is, it's a party for never-ending cheating. I read, now and then you read that scientists are pursuing the possibility that we can live indefinitely. That's all talk. All those scientists are dead. And the ones that aren't dead will be dead. Jata Śrī Kṛṣṇa, Krishna says, for one who's born, death is certain. Death is certain. But suppose they could do it, that would make things worse. I not only have to live to be 50 or 80, now I have to live to be 120, 214. Oh God, no.
But let's say they would like stop our aging at this point, like that we look
That's
like
lovely.
all like
now I don't have to age, but still I'll be full of anxiety.
yeah.
275 years of anxiety. There's no, in the Bhagavatam, Taravakyam na jivanti. In the Bhagavatam it said that the trees can live for thousands of years. You know, science, you can live indefinitely. In California we have a forest of sequoia trees. And they're these enormous trees. I've been there, they're so impressive, it's really something. And they're thousands of years old. In the Calcutta Botanical Garden, there's a banyan tree that's said to be living since the time of Krishna, 5,000 years. But the Bhagavatam says, better one moment of self-realization than the long life of a tree. What is the use of living longer? Now I'm wasting 100 years, so now I can waste 400 years. What's the point? That's all foolishness.
I have another question regarding chanting.
By the way, I'll tell you a story since it's election coming up. I was traveling in a train in India, and it was an American election year. And there was a fellow in my compartment who was from Saudi Arabia. So we got to talking, he was a nice guy. And he said, our system of government is better than your system of government. He said, in your system, every 4 years, you make all of this propaganda, all of this noise, you spend all of this money, you go through all of this business, and you just elect another thief. He said, our system is better. We keep the same thief. Yes.
When I'm in the kirtan, is this a proper mindset if I enjoy to hear the other chanting, that I feel like that I'm connected with the others, but through the holy name? Is this spiritual or is this a material enjoyment?
That while chanting we feel enjoyment and connected to the other devotees. I can tell you a story, but is my book here, by the way? Do you have
Yes, yes.
this book?
Can I bring?
Yeah. Okay. There's a story told by my godbrother. Padumna was the Sanskrit editor for practically all of Śrīmad Bhagavatam's books. He joined the Hare Krishna movement before I did. And he tells a story from early. This was in Montreal, Canada, in 1968, when Prabhupada was still known as Swamiji. We had a glorious, a very ecstatic kirtan. And as we were exiting and going down the stairs, and Prabhupada was going back to his apartment, Vamandev, another devotee, turned to Prabhupada and said, "Swamiji, that kirtan was so enjoyable." Prabhupada immediately turned to him and said, "Kirtan is not for your enjoyment. Kirtan is for Krishna's enjoyment." So the Pradyumna gives this as an example of how chanting is an activity that should be based on knowledge, sambandha gyan, based on knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. Of course, in the beginning we just say to everyone, just chant. But to get the full benefit of chanting, we should chant with an understanding. Chanting is an anga, a limb of bhakti. Limb means a part. A part doesn't occur without a whole. If we don't have a whole in relationships with a part, the term part loses its meaning. So it's important to understand how these practices exist within the framework of sambandha gyan, or knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. So he said, that these practices like chanting should be grounded in a greater inclusive basis. And then we'll know that each one is rooted and is springing from a desire to please and serve Krishna. It's not an activity done just for our own satisfaction. We should know that we're eternal servants of Krishna, and we should perform kirtan just to please him. This will lead us to the ultimate goal, pure love for Krishna. Now that doesn't mean that if we're feeling some happiness, we should, oh no, I'm feeling happy. Prabhupada told us, chant and be happy. So there's natural happiness that will develop from chanting Hare Krishna. But virya gayana mahamrita magna chitta, Prahlad Maharaj said, by chanting Hare Krishna I become merged in an ocean of nectar. So it's not that we have to somehow get rid of that. We shouldn't feel happy while we're chanting Hare Krishna. We will. Naturally. But our happiness will be greater when we realize, when we understand, when we keep in mind that really my first class chanting is to chant to please Krishna, not to please myself. When Krishna is pleased, I'll automatically be pleased. Prahlad Maharaj gives the example that if you decorate your face, then the face that you see in a mirror will automatically be decorated. You don't have to separately decorate, put dots on the forehead you see in the mirror. Put them on yourself, and the mirror will automatically happen. So the real self of all selves is Krishna. When we give pleasure to Krishna, we'll automatically get pleasure. When the hand puts food in the stomach, the hand will also enjoy. But if the hand thinks, let me independently enjoy, you may get a couple of moments of feeling great. I got it. But it will collapse. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Maharaj, how to come out of the dualities? Like, with intelligence we know we should be surrendered to Krishna, but on the other end, the mind is still having the tendency of enjoying. So it keeps finding enjoyment in the matters.
Therefore we should know philosophy. There's duality, you say, because we know that we're servants of Krishna, but we want to enjoy independently. So we should cultivate a deeper understanding. And then, because on the superficial understanding, that I'm this body, I do these various things for my physical happiness and mental happiness, and then I chant Hare Krishna, that's also for my happiness. But I'm not really, I'm still in duality. But when I fully come to the Krishna conscious platform, there's no duality because everything's for Krishna. Now this is for Krishna, and this is for me. That's duality. That's duality because you're not giving your full energy. You're keeping something back. So when we do everything for Krishna, then there's no duality. There's oneness. Oneness doesn't mean we lose our identity. Oneness means that the small identity works for the supreme identity. Then there's oneness. Okay?
Maharaj, last, how to deal with the weakness of the heart?
How to deal with the weakness of heart, really adorable. Get up and serve. Just do it. And again, hear from Krishna. Arjuna had weakness of heart, pretty adorable. So he surrendered to Krishna. Shishya steham sharimam tam tapan. Now I surrender to you. Please serve as my spiritual master and instructor. And then at the end he said, Nashtamo hasmityola. Now my illusion is gone. So if we hear from Bhagavad Gita and take shelter of the representative of Krishna, then we'll be freed from this. Yes.
I have another question regarding Kirtan. So Lord Chaitanya says that Krishna has millions of names like Govinda and all other names. But when we do Kirtan, it's recommended that we only sing the Hare Krishna mantra, isn't it?
No, we generally sing Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Krishna has so many names. But when we do Kirtan, we just chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We can sing other mantras. But they should come from the authorized source. Sampradaya vihina ye mantraste nishpalam. If we just chant any made-up mantra, it won't be effective.
Is Nityananda Rama authorized?
Nityananda Rama, we've heard that from Prabhupada.
No.
Then, as soon as we haven't heard it from Prabhupada, we can ask, what is this? Where did it come from? We hear, especially Prabhupada recommended 2 mantras. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Dvārakā, Srivāsadi Gaur. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Mucukunda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radha Raya Nama Krishna Jayadvaita Gopal Govinda Śrī Kṛṣṇa. But especially this is the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Mantra.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maharaj, my question is about injustice and how to explain
Injustice.
how to explain to kids.
How to explain to kids that there's injustice.
No, it is obvious what is injustice, but how to explain that the person who creates injustice, he will be punished.
How to explain that the person who created injustice will be punished.
Because the kid, of course, and even erwachsene adult also, it's normal wish that wish of revenge. It's natural wish to be revenged.
It's a natural wish to get revenge.
To get revenge, yes.
So how to explain that punishment will come without them?
Or it will not come.
Or it will not come. It will come. By nature's arrangement. You put your hand in the fire, what's going to happen? There'll be a consequence. You'll get burned. So we think that there's no, sometimes we see if people get away with murder, as we say. They can do anything and not get caught. But those who understand the laws of karma know that there'll be a consequence. It may be today, it may be tomorrow, it may be in the next life. Now I'm suffering. Why? Why am I suffering today? Because of something stupid I did before. Who gets away with anything? We're all suffering. What are we suffering from? The results of our previous actions. What will I suffer from in the future? The results of my present actions, or those other actions from the past. So everyone's getting the results of their activities by the arrangement of nature. I don't have to make it happen. It will happen. I may be revengeful, I may not be revengeful. But nature will take its course. Everyone will get the results of their past activities. But this vengeance comes in the mode of passion, especially. And the result of passion, we discussed, is more suffering. Vengeance, by getting vengeance, I don't feel better. Maybe I feel better for a short while. But so many miseries come upon me. There's vengeance, then I get my vengeance, but then there are others who want their vengeance from my vengeance. You know, out of vengeance, I killed your brother. Now I feel really good. But now your family will come after me. I'm always in anxiety. What will happen? What will happen? The person who wants vengeance suffers the result himself. It's a big topic. Krishna speaks to this topic in the Bhagavatam. It's a big topic. Those who want vengeance will suffer themselves. When they get their vengeance, they'll suffer themselves.
And when this passion is so big that you want vengeance, what is the best to do?
When the pattern's so big that we want vengeance, then Krishna will take it. Why do I have to do it? To punish the evildoers is Krishna's business. Vinashaya Sudushkritam. vengeance and counter-vengeance and counter-vengeance. Goes on forever. So saintly person, we have to come to the platform of the saintly person. Saintly person sees that what is this vengeance cannibal? I got what I deserved. Which is a terrible thing sometimes to tell someone, you lost your arm and that's what you deserved. So it may not be, what's the word, tactful to tell someone. It may be harsh to tell someone. But at least if we think that, I'm getting what I deserved from my previous activities, that will be good for me at least. What is that? I forgot what it says. That person who goes on suffering the results of his previous activities and thinking this is Krishna's mansion, and goes on offering obeisances to Krishna from the core of his heart, becomes eligible for freedom from material existence. It's a big topic, and it needs a lot of thought. I've spoken to this topic a little bit in my other book, Vanity Karma. The laws of karma and the seemingly senseless way that things go on. It becomes a big topic. But if it's my duty, then not out of vengeance, but out of duty, and I have to do something. The policeman can't think, the robbers will get their karma. And he's a fool, he's negligent. It's your duty as a policeman to see that they get their karma, or to be an instrument for their karma. Krishna will see that they get it, but you're meant to be an instrument for Krishna's plan. The police can't be negligent. Let them do their nonsense. Karma will catch up. No, that's my duty. That's my duty. So the Kshatriyas especially, anyone who has power, has the responsibility, should see to it that innocent persons are protected, that rogues are curbed down. That's especially the duty of the Kshatriyas. Yes.
Thank you so much. So you mentioned that the body stays and then dwindles away. You mentioned that the body stays, grows, and then dwindles away. But then on the practical level, we sometimes forget this and we hanker for bodily comforts, happiness. So why is there the tendency to forget?
Why is there a tendency to forget? Because of material conditioning. Ultimately because I'm trying to enjoy and exploit the resources of material energy. While I'm busy in that project, I forget my real project. My real project is Krishna consciousness, but I become so absorbed in the project of trying to exploit the resources of the material world, I forget my real project. And chanting Hare Krishna, practicing Krishna consciousness means reviving my memory of my real project, my real life. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Can we say that all sufferings we experience in our life is a reaction that we made others suffer? And was it also because in the material world is Kālayavana? Is there something also this, or is it just I'm fully responsible because I did something wrong to someone else?
It is all karmic suffering due to causing pain to others. Often, and perhaps most often, it is. But I can just do something stupid that doesn't involve causing trouble for others. I can do something that just causes overeating, for example. Doesn't cause you a problem. maybe in a larger sense, because I'm taking more than my share and there's poverty in the world. But, you know, in an ordinary day-to-day sense, who do I harm by overeating? Just myself. When I smoke a cigarette, it doesn't, by myself, it doesn't cause trouble for anyone else, but it causes trouble for me. So I can cause trouble, even without causing trouble for others, I can cause trouble for myself. And if I cause trouble for others, then it's still worse.
But I'm not punished because I left Krishna. So in this way, the Krishna is not forcing us, or come back to me, or I will punish you.
I'm not punished because I left Krishna. I'm punished because I'm in illusion. And it's not that Krishna's just saying, you left me, I'll punish you. But I'll give you a very nice example. We were in our farm community in New Vrindavan in America, and Prabhupada was conducting an initiation ceremony. In those days, he would do the ceremony himself, light the ceremonial fire and do everything. So he was conducting the ceremony, sitting next to the fire, and at one point he put a stick into the sand on which the fire was built. He pulled the stick out and said, "This is very instructive." What is that? On the stick there were some dead moths. And Prabhupada said the fire does not jump out at the moth, but the moth, out of illusion, flies into the fire and is killed. So this is our position. We think, let me enjoy. And the result of our illusory enjoyment is suffering or death.
Even still, I'm fully responsible.
Yeah, I act in such a way that also Krishna is saying, don't do it. Prabhupada gave the example. There's a child, he wants to put his hand in the fan. His father says, don't do that, you'll hurt yourself. No, I get it. No, you'll hurt yourself. So Krishna is saying, Mamekam Sharana, just surrender to me and come back to Godhead. He said, no, let me put my hand in the fan. All right, yes.
Material world is a world of miseries and
Material world is a world
of suffering.
of suffering.
Yeah. This is illusion of happiness in this material. Illusion of happiness in this material world.
There's an illusion of happiness in this material world, yes.
How in this situation we can develop love to the Lord?
How can we develop love for
In this situation, yeah.
in this situation? By getting free from illusion. In darkness there will be so many problems. When the sun is out, then the darkness disappears. Yaha Krishna Taha Maya Nahi. Where there's Krishna, and Maya disappears. All the sufferings, all the confusion, all the anxieties, all the calamities, they're all existing on the platform of illusion. I'm dreaming at night, a tiger is chasing me, a tiger is chasing me. It's getting closer, it's getting closer. When I wake up, no tiger. Oh, all of these the illusory happiness and the illusory distress both disappear when we become Krishna conscious. Is that okay?
What is asking the goal of our life to achieve this bhakti love to Krishna, but how can we get it?
How can we get this love for chant Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
The same thing. The chanting gets us free from illusion. Chanting makes us happy. Chanting brings us to love of Krishna. Everything by chanting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, shall we stop? For those who want, the book is here. You've got some copies of this book. Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan Standards. For those who are chanting the Kirtan and want some guidance on what Prabhupada said, on how to do it, and what consciousness, and what to chant, what not to chant, how to do it. And so many instructions are compiled in this book, Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan Standards. And you can get copies where?
There's a table outside.
Table is outside. Okay. Good. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.